I do gotta say that I am just struggling with the affirmations. Happy 2.0, 2.1, take 2, week 2. So it's Monday morning. I'm doing a little walk. I already did my morning pages. I gotta tell you, except for Thursday last week when we had a 6 a.m. call time for the conference, I have been doing my morning pages every day. That's not true. Wednesday, I only did like a morning page instead of 3, and I literally did it like half dressed, standing in the middle of my living room, like scribbling as fast as I could. I only wrote like a page, and I was like, after I get dressed and get ready, I'll finish writing. But then like we were out the door, and then it was just like meeting after meeting, so that didn't happen. But I still wrote something, right? Like there was something in there. Thursday, I did not write at all. I brought my notebook with the plan to write, but because we had to be, like, the call time was 6 a.m., it just did not happen. So I've been doing good otherwise. I get up, I write my morning pages. Also, my challenge for myself this week is to put my phone, like, across the room for bedtime, because this thing happens where it's like, oh, if I woke up earlier, my day would be better. I am a morning person. I know that, like, people are like, nobody's a morning person. It's a lie. I do feel, I fear I'm a morning person. So, but the problem is that I wake up and I grab my phone, and then I'm scrolling for like an hour in bed, just like enjoying the warmth of the bed, but also like already putting things into my brain from the internet that are not my own thoughts. So my goal now is to put my phone across the room. Even if I like stay and enjoy the warmth of the bed, at least I'll like stay there with my own thoughts. And also I think that like I won't sit there for an hour. Like I'll probably sit there like maybe for 15 extra minutes or something. Because I'm always up before my alarm. I have a daily 7 a.m. alarm that basically just like says like, all right, you have to get on with your day. If I'm kind of like trapped in doing something else. But truthfully, I'm up before my 7 a.m. alarm every single day, and I'm just like spending it scrolling in bed. This one precious life that I have, that's what I'm doing with it. So my goal is to put my phone on the opposite side of the room and get to my morning pages sooner. I'm really good at morning pages. I have a lot of stream of consciousness that I could just write and write and write. So I have a bit of a busy work afternoon with meetings. This morning I really need to, I need to clean my desk. That's like a big thing I need to do. But also just kind of like getting myself together for the week and getting things set up for my sessions this afternoon. But this evening is truly the only evening that I have like off. We have like a committee meeting Tuesday night. We have an event we're filming Wednesday night. I forget what's Thursday. I feel like there's something on Thursday. Neither here nor there. We have a lot going on this week. So tonight I need to spend the afternoon, evening really kind of scheduling out to when I'm going to fit in the artist way, block it off, consider an appointment, so this way I can get through week 2 and do these challenges. I do fear that part of the problem of being like busy is that like even when you're in something, you're always like anticipating the next thing. And I do think that is a trait of like a good producer, right? So like as a producer, I am always thinking about like what is coming next, right? Like for example, on the conference last Thursday, it was like, okay, we're doing this event. We need to get these shots right now, but then what is the next event? And like, what do I need to have set up for that event for it to be successful? Like that is a good quality to have, but it does kind of mean that you're always like in this state of like what's next and not like in the state of like what is happening right now per se fully, right? Like you can be, but like it's just hard. As you would see, my life is a little bit of a mess. I actually have this other like series, I guess, I want to do that's like more like getting my life together. And I actually, on Saturday, I did not like restrict my morning pages to 30 minutes or restrict it to 3 pages. I just kind of wrote, and I kind of like wrote out a little bit of a plan on like what I could do for that series. But also again, like I tend to get really excited and want to do all these things, and then like I'm doing too many things and then I can't like do anything. So I'm trying to not prioritize that or like think it needs to get done in a day kind of thing, and be more of a long-term project where I can kind of like get my life together overall. But it was nice to kind of morning page like plan that out on Saturday where I didn't have anything else to do, so I could kind of like morning page as long as I wanted to, or journal, or like whatever I wanted, like free flow writing. Listen, if you're thinking to yourself, your space is so cluttered, that's just how I live. I have 3 or 4 computers on this desk at any given moment, and I use probably 3 of them throughout the course of the day and need 3 of them throughout the course of the day. So, there's just going to be a lot of stuff on this desk. That's just going to be the nature of it. I'm also like a pen and paper gal, so I'm going to have a ton of like notebooks, scrap paper, post-it notes, sorts of thing. So I'm going to get to work, and I'll talk to you later. So I have been working through my tasks, and I was doing some of the tasks from week 1 that I, needed to catch up on, and then kind of starting some of the tasks for week 2. So week 2 is a lot about finding sanity and finding like kind of like a balance in your life and not allowing other blockers, they call them, to kind of stunt your creativity or waste your time, right? Like sometimes it's not about them stunting your creativity, it's about them like taking up so much of your time. One of the tasks that it wanted me to do was to write down a list of 20 things that I like to do. And I'm not gonna lie to you, I struggled to get to 11, which is so crazy because, again, I feel as though I'm a multi-passionate person. In the Artist Way, one of the tasks is like writing like other lives you could have. And it's interesting because last week I was on a career panel and a student was like, how did you like know what you wanted to do? And I was like, oh my God, I have to speak on this. Like, you have to decide, right? Like that was such a hard concept for me to grasp as an adolescent. Like, I thought that I was just gonna know. Like, I made a lot of, like, spiritual jokes for somebody who's claiming to not be spiritual. But I was like, I thought that, like, a guardian angel was gonna come down and, like, be like, this is what you're meant to do. I thought that, like, I was gonna have some kind of clairvoyance where, like, the thing that I was meant to do out of all the things in the world was just gonna, like, come to me and divinely, be placed in my head. And that was what I was gonna do. And then at some point, there's this realization that, like, no, it's up to me. Like, I have to decide, which is far more scary than anything else. Of, like, I have to actually make a decision and pick a path. But I could see myself as geologist Sam. I could see myself as, any kind of earth science Sam, really, like, geology, astronomy. There's also a world where there's an astrologist Sam. There's also a world where there is a performer Sam in some way, like as an actress, a singer, a performer. Truthfully, if I would have known earlier that there was such a job as professional hype person, I would have done that, right? Like, there's just so many different choices that, like, in another life, we always say, like, in another life, I am this other person with this other career. So that came really easily to me. But finding 20 things that, like, I feel like I enjoy is it's hard. And it's only been made harder that a thing that I have enjoyed doing since I'm 12 years old is now my profession, right? Like, making videos was a hobby for me for a very long time, and then I made it my profession. But I really struggled to get to 11 items, and you're supposed to write out 20. So I was hoping that maybe, like, a little bit of a walk would clear my head a little bit. But I don't know. It's also, like, as an adult, anytime somebody's like, oh, what are your hobbies? Like, I want to burst into tears because I probably work 80 hours a week. And sometimes that feels like an exaggeration, but other times it doesn't. And where do you fit in hobbies? And even now, like, I'm thinking about how, like, I have work that I need to do, and I'm not doing it because I want to do the Artist Way, and I'm trying to prioritize this in my life. But there is outstanding work that needs to get done. And if I don't do it right now, like, it's still going to be there for me to do. Nobody else is going to come in and do this. Like, so it's just really hard to prioritize hobbies or to find time for hobbies. And the book does say, like, stop looking for big pockets. Like, find 5 minutes, 15 minutes, go on your lunch to, like, do cool things. But it's so hard. I don't know why my nose looks so red. It also looked red this morning. Okay, so there's a couple things I need at the grocery store, but a little pit stop here on a bench. I love this part of spring where it rains and everything just starts turning green. It's the best. So I did crowdsource some answers for the things I enjoy, and I asked my friends, and they gave me some. I was like, can you guys do it and tell me what you would write down? And they were like, wow, 20 is a lot, but I did get inspired. How did I forget about petting cats? Crazy. But it's so funny because I've had this conversation with this same like group of gals about how like when people ask you like, what do you do for fun, or what are your hobbies, it can be kind of like, do I have hobbies? I don't know. I'm like working, or if I'm not working, I'm like laying on the couch exhausted from working. And it's funny to kind of see some things that like maybe are tied to each other, right? Like I wrote that I love internet stalking people and people watching, right? Like I'll never forget one time I was like in a pizzeria with my mom, and I could have like stayed and watched like that teamwork all day. I also did the thing that was like, you know, pick 5 other lives, and like you know, in another life I am like a research psychologist or sociologist, because like I find human beings and working together so fascinating. So I did get that list done. Woohoo. And it was an interesting experiment. I also had a realization about morning pages in my notebook this morning. Okay, so I'm 20 weeks into doing morning pages now. I started on April 9th. It's now April 29th. And what I know is that I'm gonna need a lot of notebooks. So you see that little black line there? That is how far I'm in this notebook doing morning pages for 20 days. I did a week 0, and then I kind of like did 2 week 2s, as we now know. So I do think I'm gonna get some like, you know, cheap spiral notebooks to use moving forward. And for those of you who are like, that notebook's too small, sometimes I write 5 pages in the morning. You know, I think it's fine. This is a notebook that my best friend gave me forever ago, and I haven't used it yet. So I thought this would be a good time to get to using it. So, but I do think 20 days in, I still have 10 weeks left of the program. So I think, I'm gonna need some more notebooks. And sometimes I feel like journaling is great for me. Like, you remember that song that was like, 2 a.m. and I'm still awake writing a song all down on paper, so it's no longer inside of me threatening the life it belongs to. Like sometimes I feel like that. Like sometimes I feel like if I could just and put it on a page, it's great. Other times I start to spiral in the notebook, and then we get sucked in, and then I leave the notebook not feeling like I've plucked the thoughts out. I feel like they're now circling inside of me. And if it's like, hey, keep writing, I don't know, man, I think I should stop and we should move on. I saw some girl on the internet say like, unfortunately, I do like the same environment that ticks do. And honestly, girl, same. Happy Friday. What a whirlwind of a couple weeks here, or maybe even 10 days. The bags under my eyes say she didn't sleep 7 hours last night, but I can assure you I did. Who knows, maybe I'll like catch up on some sleep debt this weekend. I feel like I talk a lot about morning pages in these videos, but truthfully, that feels like the core exercise of the program, right? Is like doing these morning pages. It's funny how like meta morning pages can get sometimes. Like I'm writing about my feelings about morning pages while writing morning pages, and like that makes me feel like I'm doing it wrong. But for the first couple pages, I was just like, you know, dumping my thoughts. And then for the last one, I was like, I think I like morning pages better than brain dumping, because like, especially early in my business, I brain dumped a lot. Like you can find in my early notebooks just like pages with like dates on top, brain dump, date on top, brain dump. And the thing about that is like sometimes it's nice because it feels like it's like getting it out of your brain and putting it on a page. This way you can like do something with it. But for me personally, like brain dumping just made me feel so overwhelmed and so behind, and like I was never going to catch up, and like that all my clients hated me because it would just be this very long list of everything I needed to do, and everything was a priority. But I kept doing it because it's like, hey, this is the only place where all of my tasks exist. I will say that doing Asana, which I talked about a couple of vlogs ago, has really helped. I've been actually literally knocking wood below me that I'm sitting on a log. Asana has been working. I've been doing pretty good about like entering tasks, like as we do a shoot, I'm like entering in, okay, this is what we need to do with this shoot, or these are the tasks we need to do. I find it a little bit overwhelming for social clients because I kind of want to list out each of the social posts we need to do, because I find it helpful to like actually see the amount of work I'm doing. So I understand that, like, yes, I am doing this to myself. I'm overwhelming myself. When I say a month worth of social content, that's just like one task. But if I break it out and I look at 15 posts that I need to make for a client per month, that is 15 tasks, which is really 45 tasks, because I need the idea, I need to make the post, and then I need to create the caption and schedule it, right? Like, at least seeing like the 15 posts that need to be completed in Asana like helps me gauge, like, yes, you are busier than you are giving yourself credit for. So this week, Wednesday evening, we had a gala fundraiser event that we filmed called Simply Savory. And then Thursday, I went to a women's conference in Kalahari called Empower. One of the main reasons I went is because one of our clients has a youth organization, and at this conference they had a teen track, and she and one of her students were speaking at the teen track, so I was there to film it. But also I got to enjoy the conference outside of just that one breakout room that they did, and it was lovely. And it's interesting because between this conference and some other events that we've done recently, there's two things that have kind of been weighing on my mind as of late. One of which being the loss of like traditions in families. We did a live stream in March, and one of the women talked about how like language is not being passed down. Another woman talked about how like crafting is not being passed down in the same way that it used to be. And for the last year, I've been journaling about this passion project that I really want to do with my own family, with our own families, right? Is to have people teach us their signature dish. And while we're there at our family's home, we are asking them questions about their lives, right? Like, we are interviewing them questions about their lives while they teach us how to make what they consider to be their signature dish. And so not only are we capturing their story, but also we are capturing, or we're spending the time with these people, with our family members and learning from them, right? So it's something that I really want to do, but in a world where like I already have 2 jobs and this is not something that necessarily is monetizable, but I really want to do, where do I fit it in and how do I do it? And the other topic is community, right? And not just community, but also volunteering and getting involved and getting people to care, right? So I did a talk in November about why community is going to save the world, basically. Like, I think community is how we solve a lot of our problems, and especially local community, right? Like, I've been involved in online communities, and they're lovely and they're great and they're a amazing place to turn to. However, having and knowing and engaging with your neighbors is what's going to make the most amount of change, in my opinion. You could disagree. However, when I went to a panel yesterday, we were talking about volunteering, and a lot of it was like very beginner level. It was like how to start volunteering, how to find volunteer engagements. And so we got to the questions part, and I stood up and I was like, hey, like, I might be in the minority here, but like, how many people are already on boards and committees and already volunteer? And most of the room raised their hands. I was like, so we are already the people doing the work. How do we get others to engage? And one of the women were like, some people just don't want to. And I was like, that's not really fine. But like, that's, I think, because they don't understand, right? Like, and I'm not about forcing people to do anything they don't want to do. However, I think like a lot of people just don't know how to get started. So back in December, I started this kind of like notes app thread where I was like writing down some videos kind of on the how, like how to serve on a board. What does it mean to serve on a board? How to get started volunteering, how to find committees to serve on, how to find organizations you like and want to serve on locally, right? How to do these things that include volunteering. And truthfully, I wanted to make it a series before Project Frostum, but that just never happened. Life got crazy. It's a thing that I've truthfully been mapping out in my morning pages, to be honest. And truly, all of that yapping to say that I do think morning pages are helping me kind of map out some additional creative projects that are not necessarily work related. Who knows, maybe as we keep going, I'll find some short films in there, but I have these other projects and they're, I think, good ideas. And now I just need to make the plan of action to take it from, okay, this idea that's been in my phone notes or in my morning pages or in my journal or whatever, and actually turn it into, how can I fit this into my life? So I'm still working on some of the tasks for week 2, but I'm going to close out this vlog. We're only technically 2 weeks into the program. I know I've been doing this for like 20 some odd days now, but I'm only 2 weeks out of the 12 weeks into this program. So really, like, I'm barely 15% of the way into it. So it'll be interesting to see how this all goes. I hope that you have a great week ahead of you, and I'll be back next week to talk about week 3 of The Artist's Way.